Hello, and welcome. You are about to enter the Large K Podcast.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kazu, and welcome to Large K Podcast. How's it going? I know I've been idle for a couple weeks, but I'm back in rhythm now and here to present you with a new episode. I had the pleasure of speaking with Ali about his project, Known Bird Sightings. This is his ambient project. I got to know him at a show a few weeks ago. Great guy. He loves video game music and movie soundtrack, and that's where he got most of his inspiration from. Before we get to the episode, I just want to say thank you for the support. I'm finally 100 subscriber for YouTube, which is awesome. So once again, thank you. And if you're interested in listening and watching my content, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. All right, let's get right to it. This is Large K Podcast with Ali of Known Bird Sightings. Wait, Ali,
Yeah.
did you grow up in Laguna?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
How's that? Why is that unfortunate?
I don't know. I feel like my parents, given how their backgrounds, they could have had. I don't know. I could have grown up anywhere else, but
Right.
my family was just like, yeah, we're gonna be here in the heart of Orange County, in a really safe, nice neighborhood for kids to like grow up and raise. But I don't know. I wish that I don't have to wish. I could have been anywhere else.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess it's unfortunate in the sense of it's boring.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Not much happens there. I don't really do much there.
Is there like a DIY scene in Laguna?
No, I mean, there's a few people who are from like that area and like the neighboring places like Mission Viejo and like in other places.
Right.
That are local that go out to here and play shows, you know.
Oh, okay.
A few neighbors like John Clawater, he's in Laguna Hills. Isaiah Rowe, he was in Mission Viejo. He just moved to Asheville, and a few others. You know.
I see. So there wasn't like really like an opportunity to like check out. Like,
I mean, there was music. There were like occasionally a few house shows. Like I remember going to one that was like pretty decently sized. Like, oh wow, what's going on here? And then it'd be like, oh, some actual band from this, I guess, got some gusto behind them. Was there? I was like, oh, that's weird. Before they got like huge, I guess.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's neat. But I mean, yeah, it's quiet. Musically, stuff doesn't happen there because it's usually just house shows or anything else. But also, I wouldn't be able to know for sure. I'm so kind of outside of it all too, on top of all that.
Right, yeah. Did you like, I don't know, discover like a lot of things that you like on your own, or
Discover what?
Like oh no, actually sorry, my question was like, did you grow up like playing instruments? Like, did you have like a creative household? Or, like...
My family were all like visual artists mainly. Like my mom's side, on my mom's side at least, the one I grew up with.
Yeah.
They were all visual artists, or like occasionally poets, I guess.
Okay.
My mother, she was a painter and illustrator, as well as her mother, my grandmother, who was also a poet as well.
Right. Yeah.
And then my grandpa, who I lived with too, he's a civil engineer, but he's also not moonlights. He just is a photographer, but that was never like a career goal for him. It was just something he did, even though they're all really reverently good. Like they have good, nice credentials, I guess, and good reputation, I guess. I guess back when they were more active, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Because like it's I guess, but yeah. To go back to your question, yeah.
Yeah, it is a good.
Grew up around it. Musically, no. There was not much musicians in my family.
Okay.
At least on my mom's side. Probably more on my father's side, but I wouldn't know. I mean, I did have uncles who played guitar and all stuff, but I would never like actively was like, I want to learn how to play guitar. It was never an interest to me. But I did take up an interest in playing strings in elementary school.
Oh, okay.
Like violin. And I did that for a while until it became like, yo, you have to get up at 6 now because you're in advanced strings now. You get up at 6 and go play early in the morning so your young little child brain can become like a dreadful adult and resent art.
Yeah.
By having to get up early to do it, so I didn't do it. So I didn't proceed that officially or like seriously for a while. But I would dabble with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
And guitar was just something like, who the fuck doesn't grow up in like the suburbs and doesn't pick up a guitar? So that just happened on it like by a fucking statistical, I don't know, something or other.
I see. No, actually, my older brother experienced the same thing where it's like he did play violin. Like in elementary school, but for some reason, like when you get to like the next step, like you have to like wake up earlier than everybody to get there, and then still take the same classes as everybody else.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, it's almost kind of like a.
I just wasn't down for that.
Yeah.
I already like stayed up late against their judgment as a kid.
So it was like an extra.
And I also was just a bad student too, so even if I was down to go do it early, I probably still wouldn't have showed up because it would have been late anyway. Like, hey guys, what's up?
Right. Yeah.
You guys done? Okay, cool. I'm going to class now.
Yeah, I see. So did you like I know you were talking about how like everybody in suburbs were like playing guitar and stuff, but like did you were you progressively like, okay, like, I'm gonna
was I tackling it seriously? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. At that time, and before I even got involved with music really kind of, I guess, seriously, I guess you could say,
yeah,
I had first and foremost just been like, oh, I like to draw, I like to paint, that's what I do.
Right.
That's what I've always done since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And back when I was more creatively active, when I was younger, that's all I did was just draw.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got to the point where just sort of sometime after I went to community college for a while, and sort of like I was doing the art thing there, and sort of got a bunch of shit happened.
Yeah.
So then I just stopped going, and then sort of just up in the air stuff. Then just started working, and then working on art stuff, whatever I could, like just projects.
Right. Okay.
And then somewhere down the line, like as a joke, like not a joke, but like more like I had a friend who did musical production. Like they made beats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, what you do is so much better than the guys you like. Cause this guy likes Diplo, this guy like fucking like Skrillex.
Okay.
It's like 2009, 10ish era. That year.
And all that, yeah.
And then so I was like, hey, give me FL Studio. I'll fucking show you. Like as a joke, like not. I didn't say it, but like in my head, I was like, I'm gonna like make something in like a night.
Right.
Sort of like, you can do better. I can do better. So can you. I had some sort of point to make, but then I just did that and then fell into it for a while, and then yeah, that's how I got into that at that point. But I lost track of the initial question. My bad.
Oh no, it's okay. Like it was about like tackling like music. Like
oh yeah, like I said, it was something like only up until like really recently. Was just something I didn't really focus on. Just something there.
Okay, so
yeah.
like you didn't. Were you involved in any projects like before?
Musically?
The Known Bird Sightings.
Yeah, I did. I guess the notable thing was like I had an electronic sort of like thing, which was just it was called Left Hand Seizure, and I just basically made just weird stuff whenever I could. Initially, like I said, it started off as just sort of like, I'm just gonna mess around with this too.
Yeah. I
have enough of this stuff now where it's like, I'll curate it in some way and put it out there.
Right. Yeah.
I did that for a while.
Okay.
And then that's pretty much what I did before.
Okay. That's a really interesting name though, Left Hand Seizure.
I think when I came up with it, I think The Tempest by Shakespeare. As stupid as that sounds, but I think that's literally what happened when I took that book and I was like, or no, there was a couple books. but I think that's the least cringy one. I think I had lying around, so I'll say that one. But I think I picked that one. I was like, oh, it's cool in here. That sounds cool. I don't even know. I haven't really even gone back to check if I even did that, if that's where it happened. But that's the story I'm saying.
Just flipped through the book and just chose that. Like, that's so funny. Did you end up reading through the whole book, or?
I mean, yeah, I like the Tempest. Tempest is pretty nice.
So you actually liked it? Okay. I thought you just picked up like just any literature that sounds like incredibly smart, and then just seeing like if there's any phrases in there that you.
Shakespeare definitely does carry that that tone of he likes Shakespeare.
Right.
It's fuck yeah, I do. It was one of the biggest middle. I don't know. I'm probably ignorant too, but I always feel like Shakespeare was like, hey, fuck like the kings, like the royal, the upper class was like, hey, here's something for everyone.
Right.
And I always like that. So like, I don't know, Shakespeare's a cool guy.
That's pretty good though. How about the current your artist name, Known Bird Sightings? How did you come up with that?
As artist name, I always hate it. It feels weird saying that, but I would say more like a project. I look at it more as projects.
Okay,
Rather than calling myself that. What was the question? How that happened?
Yeah, how did you come up with that name?
How did I come up with that name? It just like ages ago, a friend of mine showed me this image of like something like 2011 bird sighting techniques, and it was like a bunch of silhouettes of like drones, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it makes sense because it's a very sort of dark sense of humor to it. I guess it has a dark sort of origin because like literally some people in some worlds they confuse these things for birds. A kid wouldn't know the difference if they grew up with that.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea is it's sort of like a nod. I guess the name Known Bird Sightings is sort of a nod to like, yo, bad stuff happens on our behalf.
Yeah, gotcha. Because I did listen to the most recent project.
Which one?
Full of life, full of love, full of shit. Yeah, I listened through it.
What did you think of that?
It was really interesting. Was everything like recorded live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually all of it was just one track that I cut into pieces.
Yeah. Because everything didn't transition like as it is or something, But all of it was separated. How did you come up with like? Because I know like going through like song names and stuff like that.
Right.
It sounds pretty like it's all in caps, and you even have like song name like translator cunt.
Yeah.
So like, where was there like I don't know, like a story behind like? There's
always like vague sort of thoughts or imagery that go into my head, not while making the music, but in my head after like listening to it and going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of like these sort of, I think vignettes is the right word.
Right. Yeah.
So like you say translator cunt, I guess I'll explain that is. They are thought of after the fact, so it's like I said, not like, oh yeah, while making it, this is what's going through my head. It's not like that at all.
Exactly, yeah.
But like translator cunt would be like the situation where someone's in some weird situation where I'm going through some border or something like that. Because isn't there like on that same album there's like Hum with the Old Border?
Yeah, the Hum with the Old Border.
Sort of a nod, it's vaguely political in the sense of like the idea of like this person's trying to represent you in a legal manner when you're dealing with borders or international agencies and all that stuff. And then there's this translator cunt fucking with you who's not understanding what you're saying and telling them something entirely different because you're at a fault for some reason.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like that. And in terms of the other naming things, it's like that's kind of how it works. It's sort of all sort of, like I said, these little images I have. That, you can tell like a sort of story. It's not all overtly like political. I try not to be like that.
Yeah.
Even though I guess I unintentionally sort of carry that air of like, oh yeah, leaning towards that sort of mindset.
Ah, I see. Yeah, even like, I guess, in a way, like if I read it from like top to bottom, like the last track is called like "Oh Well We Tried," so like it almost seems like it kind of like something resolved, or like or as if it's like an ending of something. Well,
Oh Well We Tried. I would say that's less of an ending. And more of like it's just like we tried, nothing was accomplished.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's still kind of like I mean, I wouldn't say like, oh well, we tried in the beginning, but like it was kind of like something like experimental, and then it was kind of like here's what I did.
Oh, in reference to music. Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like if I say it in that way, it's almost kind of like I mean, sure, nothing may have been accomplished at the end, but it's like that's my stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like in that sense, I kind of looked at it like that too. But for this record in particular, like because I know you.
I wouldn't consider this one actually. Also to clear that up, I wouldn't consider most of the stuff that's on the Bandcamp as full like albums or records or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
It's more just sort of like tossed. Like here's material that was recorded.
Yeah. Because I know your live shows, like it's pretty much like you're doing it like on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it like mostly like that, or is it do you already have like
when I'm in the recordings?
No, for the live show because but also I was gonna
you're talking about do I go into the live setting with stuff in mind?
Yeah. So like
sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't usually translate well, and things. I don't know. It's in the whole live thing is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
It's been a sort of ongoing process to sort of be able to translate what I can do in a sort of isolated setting.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I do try and go into things sometimes with stuff in mind, but I try not to, in the sense of I know that given whatever mood I'm in, it's going to change that.
Right, yeah.
So I go more off my mood or whatever mood I get off anyone else.
Right, yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So that way, like, I feel like every show...
That's why it's usually different. It's very, like... I feel like I have done things that are like, that's kind of was different than that one. And,
yeah.
And, like, I guess it's successful in that aspect, but I feel like that's still a work in progress.
Okay. Yeah. So for this...
But it is, like, on the spot, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah, it is on the spot. And also, like... And this record was the same way, right? Where it's, like...
All of it is. Before, like, a couple, like, I guess, releases, it has usually that format of, this is actually just one long recording cut up.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some times where it's a mixture of that, like, smaller but kind of large portions put in there with other recordings that weren't recorded at the time of the other ones. Just sort of like, here's stuff I was sort of sitting on, I guess.
Right, yeah. Gotcha. No, it's really interesting, though, because, especially, like, if you're doing all of your record, like, on the spot, then is there, like, I don't know, do you just, like, plan out, like, a day, or is there, like, a specific moment where you're, like, you're kind of feeling some type of way, so you're just kind of recording that moment, or...
It depends. Yeah, I'll be either in moods where it's like, I did this and I needed to do that and I might as well put it out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And there's other times where it's just sort of I did it, just sort of recording, because I record like literally everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
So the stuff that's not even like I put out for obvious reasons.
Right.
But I usually do record everything, so it's either like a matter of spontaneity, which is more often than not the case. But other times it's just like I might as well put this out. I've sat on it for a while.
Right. Yeah.
And that's usually when I would like. I guess for like the first thing I did that I considered like an album, which was the American one.
Mm-hmm.
That was very much the case of here's a bunch of recorded material that I just put together.
Yeah.
That are sort of all linked together in a sort of theme, which was like 9/11 and all stuff, and sort of post 9/11 politics. So I guess when there's a bigger, I guess when it comes like the little ones that you bring up, like a full life full of shit. That is more just spontaneous.
Right.
Spontaneous sort of.
Yeah, no, you do come up with like interesting titles though. Even like the one before that is called Microtransaction Best Value Now.
I think there's a lot of things that are going in my head when I name it. I also like when it comes to naming things, I'll just sort of not spend too much time on it. I'll just sort of name things.
Right. Yeah.
And that I think was just very much that, which was I do sort of look at selling all that stuff, or even giving people the ability to buy it, because like on Bandcamp you have to you can't just make it free, like just download. You have to have like the suggested thing. You can donate $0 and it's fine, but it's still a weird idea of like this is a microtransaction, and most purchasing of any goods is everything's a microtransaction.
Okay.
And more so, I think it goes back to me being like I play video games, so like I have this weird sort of resentment towards that whole thing and that philosophy of like not that shit, not my games. Right, so I always look, and I also don't like profiting off of most of my stuff.
Okay.
Get away from that. So like Yeah, it was a microtransaction, and like just sort of So sorry, I digress.
I see. No, it's okay. That's real. Now, kind of looking at it.
I forget the names of the tracks on that too. Honestly.
Yeah, we could take a look at it. Because
I'm failing to sort of remember a lot of what's going on at that point.
It's okay. I mean, I was actually listening to this like a couple days ago. So, yeah, could never really fly. Damn.
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind.
Roadkill Eyes was a really cool song.
Forget all what I just. I entirely remember why I thought a microtransaction. Why? But
okay, gotcha.
That was just like a literal. That whole thing was a reference to a literal night.
Yeah.
With a couple friends. It was an oddly dangerously nostalgic night.
Yeah.
And that's entirely just all those names are just references to that. They're just kind of inside things, inside jokes, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
You mentioned Roadkill Eyes though. That's
It has that. The Roadkill Eyes was interesting because
is that what you said or
Roadkill Eyes? Yeah, because you pull out like an acoustic. It kind of has like a middle.
Not acoustic.
It was an acoustic.
It's the same guitar I use on all the recordings.
Really, it sounded really acoustic-y for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
That's cool
though. It kind of has like a Middle Eastern sort of vibe to it.
I guess this is probably the setting I usually use for when I try to do, I guess, more that type of more just like, hey, this is more focused on just guitar than just, hey, here's a mood, here's a sound.
There's the sound. Yeah. No,
because I do try to like distance. I guess early on I would just sort of lean more towards like it's drone, or I guess I guess you could call it drone, just sort of like long, sort of just vague, not really any dexterous form of playing.
Yeah.
And I guess I've kind of just been bored of that, so I try to incorporate more just sort of active sort of guitaring. I guess I'm very ignorant in terms of how I would explain that.
Right. Yeah. But no, I mean, I feel like it's now kind of looking at it in that context, it's kind of like it'll be more interesting to like listen to the music with knowing that.
Yeah.
But probably like I don't know, in your mind, like do you want people to just kind of like automatically figure it out, or like
figure what out?
Like the context of the music, or like the backstory and stuff like
that.
The
backstory? I mean, it's not something I sit there and like I wonder if they're gonna get it, because I don't really have any sort of. I don't want to put too much work into the whole idea, build the idea up, and then put too much work on, like, I guess, the listener.
Yeah.
I've always just wanted it to be like, hey, you listen to this in whatever situation you want. It caters towards non-active listening, in the sense of you're doing something, and then that's just playing, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting, too.
Because, like, the way I've always even just played it, and the way the times when I'm actually enjoying what I'm playing is when I'm just sort of doing it non-actively, just sort of like casually laying in my room.
Right. Yeah.
It's very much I approach it for myself, music for myself.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you because I don't in my personal like music collection and stuff, like I'm not super knowledgeable about ambient music, and like I don't listen to it like a lot of times on my like personal time, but like how did you like get into it?
How did I get into ambient music?
Yeah, how did you get into ambient music?
Like listening to it or performing?
I say like listening to it.
Listening to it? Oh, I grew up on lots of movies, and like movie soundtracks, and like even video game soundtracks. There's a few that are just stuck in my head.
Right.
And like I always like the idea of music that's just there to help whatever visual imagery is going on.
Right.
Because you don't have to really think about it too much. It's just in aid of something. And I just like I like soundtracks.
Right.
I've always wanted to just make soundtracks for things. So I guess I approach music like that in the sense of just like, hey, if that's what ambient music is, then that's what I'm going to make. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And ambient music can be a lot of different things. Movie soundtracks. Like I feel like ambient music has like this sort of feeling of like it has to be some sort of like it could be loud, it could be crazy and all that stuff too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I've always approached. I guess the way I approach ambient music is trying to convey scenes, like I said, vignettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than like, here we are, like like Alluvium. Like I like Alluvium, and I kind of like the song like indoor swimming in the space station.
Yeah.
But like that sort of thing is like, give me a fucking break. I'm not trying to make that type of music. I'm trying to just really like I said with Translator Cunt, it's about like it's sort of just like, yeah, this is like I guess like being stuck in a really shitty situation.
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
Translator.
That's really interesting though. Is for because
and I think there's a bunch of other songs like that too. But yeah, sorry.
No, I get you. Like
so like I don't know, like so you really enjoyed listening to like a lot of movie soundtrack and video game soundtrack, but was there like a video game soundtrack specifically the one that's really stuck out to you?
Oh god. That's a hard question because there's so many.
Oh, no, there's a bunch.
Yeah, I guess one of my favorite video game soundtracks of just it would have the original Deus Ex, like I think it was '99 soundtrack. A lot of just stuff of that era. The original StarCraft soundtrack. Even Final Fantasy had a good soundtrack. The old original like Nobuo Uematsu sort of just MIDI shit that was all beautiful to me. And Half-Life had Quake. Good old Trent Reznor right there doing shit like that.
Right.
Sort of like industrial music and movie soundtrack. Like video game soundtrack is like it's hard because there's like a lot of games that like that you wouldn't even think of having a good soundtrack. Just like the sound work and like I like the sound design and System Shock had a good soundtrack. A lot of cool stuff. Even I feel like I'm letting down a lot of projects I really like. Brigador. That's a recent game. I know. Sorry, I'm gonna nerd out and talk about video games.
It's okay.
But movie soundtracks, like there's a lot of stuff. The old Carpenter movies, like John Carpenter.
Oh, you're a fan of John Carpenter. Okay,
yeah, I like John Carpenter in the sense of like he's very much the artist I like adore.
Yeah. In
the sense of they do a lot of different shit. I'm pretty sure he's a painter. All that stuff. He does his own soundtracks. He does his own soundtracks, and he writes and directs his stuff. He's a writer and he's a filmmaker, and I really respect that type of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the fucking what's it called? Escape from New York. Escape from New York. It's a great soundtrack. Even Halloween. Then there's stuff fucking.
The Thing.
The Thing. The Thing's a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
Right now I'm just like, oh man, there's so many soundtracks that I'm just failing to memorize right now.
It's cool that you mentioned Carpenter though, because even recently too, he's
had a resurgence. He's came back.
Yeah.
Into the know of youth because we like stuff that's old. But oh god, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
No, he even released Lost Themes or something like that, and started touring. And kind of this guy just kind of came out of nowhere and
the Blade Runner soundtrack too. Vangelis.
Yeah.
Brian Eno, early Eno, his stuff too. He didn't do soundtracks, but I mean, you probably do.
Yeah. Do you eventually want to score for movies?
Oh
and
fuck
stuff,
yeah!
Yeah.
That's of course. That'd be the funnest thing ever. Not even just do that. I'd love to do fucking Foley work.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I like sound design. I think so many people could even musically, as a person who did produce music for a while and use samples and I can recognize certain samples and be So I feel like designing, making things sound unique is important. So if you have the same sort of sound effect or snare, someone's gonna hear it and be like, yeah, it could have been cooler. I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, sound design is
hard. It's no joke.
It is hard. Yeah. I think it's
not just music. And even just another thing. I wish people who make music would approach music, not even just musically. I feel like you should always approach it think of its application to other things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot more shit could get done too.
No, that's true.
A lot more productivity across all realms of mediums could get done if hey, what requires every other medium of art to make? Movies and video games.
Right.
Hey, everyone, get to work, everyone.
Yeah.
Complain about lack of work. There's work. You just don't know how to organize it. That's why directors are important.
I see. That's true. Because
So yeah, it goes back to scoring music. Yeah, I'd love to score music.
That would be cool, man. Yeah, that would be really, really cool. Yeah, because even actually
or score films. That's what I meant.
Yeah, going back to what you're saying about directors, it's cool because depending on what director it is, the mood of the music is so different, and there's
because they're they're the guy who makes the cut theoretically until the producers are like, no, it's got to be more like this, so we shoot all this. Or it's on the worst end of that spectrum where you have the director just making 5 different cuts of it, and then you have Ridley Scott.
Right. Yeah.
But sure. What I meant by that is just more I shout out to directors; they do hard work. having to keep everyone's egos in line.
Yeah.
Get this shit done.
I have a question about the live shows that you do.
Yeah.
What's the biggest struggle in like playing like your show, especially?
Just trying to make it entertaining and trying hard to translate stuff that I've done in the recordings into that setting, because I feel like there is a vast difference currently with what I've been doing live and what I've been putting on recordings. But I kind of just wanted to not do, because I'd rather just do that.
Right. Yeah.
But it's entirely, like I said, based off mood. So, you know, it's I guess the biggest struggle is just I'm not alone. I'm not isolated. You know, it's now for someone and other people, and there's money in the air. Yeah, you know, somewhere. And it's, you know, if someone's paying to go see something, so it's like the aspect of like, I believe firmly, like, you got to put on a good show, kid. Come on. And I try to do that, and I usually think that makes me make mistakes.
I see.
Or I guess chances on things. Right. But, you know, we'll see how that continues. Yeah. It's a work in progress, like I said.
Yeah. Because I know currently Known Bird Sightings is a solo, you know, project by yours. Yeah. But, like, is it eventually, did you want it to make it into something of like a full band, or like? That's something I've been sort of just like keeping up in the air for a while, seeing who is compatible. Right. Yeah. Okay. I've jammed with a few people, and I've even performed with a few other people live in different situations. I recently did that again. Right. At a show I did in LA recently, which was fun. But it is something I do want to actually tackle, in the sense of, and if I did that, it would be a much more like controlled environment of like, let's actually try and accomplish something. Yeah. So it'd be a lot less sort of vague, sort of improv-y stuff, and probably more focused. That's it. Yeah. So if I did do that, it would be for that in mind, of like, let's try and create something all together. That's not just, hey, here it is. Yeah, I'm already bored enough with my own music as it is, which is why I'm trying to make less just, it is, I guess, all ambient, but like less sort of like you mentioned we were talking about the live settings. Like, I try to make it, I go from like mood to thing, or like moment to moment very drastically. Right. Like, I'll stop things in the middle of things. I lost my own words there for a second, but it's okay. I'd rather just avoid that with other people. Yeah. I see. Yeah. What? Or even then, even if it worked out, maybe make a new band. Yeah. But maybe No Bird Sightings just needs to be that. It's just my thing, you know. Yeah. I getcha. What's I actually ask this question on the podcast every time, but what's one of your favorite artists you've seen live? One of my favorite artists I've seen live? And this could be both DIY or venue shows. Yeah. I'll give kind of both, I guess. One of the best things I ever saw live was in a DIY setting. I saw Lobo Incognito. It's, okay. Joel Mangione. I failed to pronounce his last name. Isn't he part of Green and Gold? Yeah. It's Joel and Will Adave. Okay, gotcha. And when I saw them, I was like, "What the fuck? Who are these guys?" Right. And I was like, "Shit, why can't I give up? These guys are too good." Yeah, no, I was like, "Oh damn!" So yeah, I crushed on those guys hard. Whatever the fuck those two guys do, it's really good. And non-DIY, I guess. I guess I would have to say, like, maybe Autolux. Oh, really? Yeah. Autolux or fuck 9 Inch Nails. Okay. I don't know. I saw a pretty shitty 9 Inch Nails concert, all things considered. Only because there was no cool visuals, but it was still cool. But yeah, probably Autolux. Or I don't know, I'm starting to think. I haven't been to like a fucking, that's the thing, I have not been to like a fucking actual show in a long time. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's either Autolux or Silver Mount Zion. I saw Silver Mount Zion once long ago, the Troubadour, and it was really intimate, because it's like, you've been there. It's really small. Yeah. And imagine that band, and like sort of like, depending on how much of a fucking fanboy you are for like the people involved, it's like, oh my god, it's them. Yeah. They're on Constellation Records. Whoa. But yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah, I see.
And I think I made a fool of myself that night, but I don't care. Spectacular time.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
How where did you see? So wait, so you just to go back, like, so you saw Autolux at Troubadour, right?
I saw Autolux, I think, at the El Rey.
At the El Rey, okay.
Yeah.
How was that show?
It was fucking great.
Yeah.
This was a while ago. Forgot how long ago it was, like what year it was, but it was when I was still in high school, I think. So it must have had to have been like before 2011.
Oh, okay.
And that was really cool. And I was like, also, that's also how I discovered Gold Panda.
Okay.
And this is like when no one knew who the fuck this guy was. So it was this guy playing the really cool stuff to like a crowd of just like people drinking. Like the crowd's not even really there yet. Like, and I was sort of like, this is some cool ass shit. Just like I'm recording because I'm like a weird high schooler who needs to record everything on this. I have an iPhone. It records 720p, so of course I'm gonna. But yeah, and I remember just sort of like, okay, cool. And the next thing I know, everyone loves Gold Panda. I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I love Autolux. They're fucking cool.
Yeah, I see.
They're really cool. They're really, I've loved them forever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you dabble into like their newer stuff too, or not really?
I haven't listened to anything after the second album, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a weird thing because I waited so long for that second album, and I was like, got it. It's fucking dope.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And then it just took them a long time to release another one. And when I heard there was a new one, I was like, New Failure's not that good, so fuck, I don't care. It's a harsh statement.
Yeah.
But I was bored by New Failure. And I think, isn't like one of the guys in both bands? I forget which one. Isn't it like Eugene?
Yeah, one of the guys from Autolux is in Failure.
Yeah, I forget which one it is. I'm sorry if you're listening and you like both those bands.
Yeah.
And you're disappointed that I don't listen to New Autolux.
Yeah.
Or you're disappointed that I don't like New Failure.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that like you enjoy like different type of music too, like, you know, where
I listen to a lot of stuff that's not ambient music.
Right, yeah. So how do you feel about 311 then?
I think there's a time and place for it. I mean, that's I don't know how I would feel about it if it was presented to me, like if I had to deal with it in like the first person setting. But you know, the memes are funny, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a partaker in that type of poison.
It's funny because like when
it's funny I was expecting you to ask me certain questions and then I would just proceed to just go off on like a fucking spiel.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, it's all fucking shit. I'm glad I'm not just going off on depressing shit.
Do you because you said you really like video game soundtracks, so do you play like a lot of video games too?
Yeah, probably a lot more than I should.
Okay. I read...
I know just as much about the entirety of the video games industry as I do an unfortunate amount of knowledge of the film industry.
I don't know.
Across multiple decades that I didn't even live. I just had I just know too much shit.
Yeah. When is Half-Life 3 coming out?
Oh god. Really?
Or is it completely over?
You know, when the fucking guy who wrote the fucking story for it just puts out the entire script and is like, yeah, I think Valve is working on stuff, but I don't think they are. So here's what Half-Life... You didn't hear about that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, like, I forget his name, but the writer of Half-Life 2 and episodes and 3, eventually 3.
I played all of it.
Yeah, he just put the script out. Like, here's the script of Half-Life 3. Valve doesn't care. It's fucking tragic. And specifically because I have such a reverence for that game. Creatively, it's a huge inspiration, both in my visual art and my just sort of God damn it! I could go off right now and just start talking about Half-Life 2 in terms of how it's not just the game itself. Like, forget that. If you're a creative person, if you learn about sort of like the history of making these games and sort of like the daunting task,
right? Yeah.
There's so much documentation about it. It's just sort of it's nuts.
Yeah.
And just sort of like the backgrounds of the artists involved making those games, like people with either from the highest of backgrounds of former Microsoft people to people who they just knew as kids who were just like, hey, you used to draw cool shit. Why don't you make some cool stuff for us? And then they made the first Half-Life game. It's like, fuck, okay. Some weird dude who's just drawing some weird ass monster stuff could just all of a sudden be in a room where they're making a game that they don't even know is going to be like one of the most revered fucking things ever made.
Right, yeah.
In terms of like, hey, we're going to sort of revolutionize PC gaming. I mean, just like outside of just gaming, we're going to actually make your brain think a little bit more in a shooter in an FPS setting.
It really is, because even like the first time I played Half-Life 2, it's like you don't know anything. You're already just this person walking around. You know?
But it's already, but even that you don't know anything, it's still telling you everything about its world as you're going through that little tram section, and that's what I like about sort of, like I said, ambient or sound design, and
it's really.
It goes back to that first scene in the Half-Life 1 where you're in the tram. You've got nothing but the noise of the machinery, everything around you operating, and all that stuff, and then you have that lady's voice just sort of telling you about Black Mesa, and it's sort of like, guys, it's all in service to the point of making you feel like you're in this world and immersing you, and so I think that I've tried to translate like that just sort of the knowledge of that into. That's how I approach making my music.
Music
like,
too,
sort of like, it's all in service to sort of get this sort of mood or setting across, and yeah, dude. You're talking about Half-Life. That's one of my.
Oh no, I love the game too. I actually dressed up as a head crab zombie a few times for Halloween.
That's a good outfit.
Yeah.
Can you do the voice?
No. It's
fucking great. It's
amazing.
It'll scare anybody if they don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
But I'm so desensitized to everything, so like, nothing shocks.
Yeah, and also like I think it's also the funny thing that you talked about the ambient design of that game. It's like,
oh god, that whole fucking the world, every corner of that, the first one and the second one is just like, yo, do you hear that weird noise on that little machinery thing? It's like, oh god, these iconic just sort of things that are in the back of my head now forever. And I think about like how they made that noise, and it's like they probably just recorded a refrigerator, and then in whatever software they had started messing with it, and then you have that fucking Combine architecture just hum.
Right, yeah. No, that's what I think is crazy. Even
and I wish I had like the recording equipment necessary to do more of like that type of stuff, like get really specific crisp sounds versus sort of lo-fi stuff that I have currently, which is, it's all recorded off a cell phone.
Right, Even the part where you like battle the head crab zombie, like it's usually like in like other games besides Half-Life, there will be like some like really loud soundtrack, where it's like some battle themed shit. But then like for this, it's like it's absolutely quiet.
Yeah,
and, like
I mean there are definitely scenes where they do just throw. Like, but it's like cool industrial sort of like industrial funk, which is very popular in the late '90s for video games.
Yeah.
God damn.
Industrial funk.
No, I mean just like
I remember that.
I forgot the composer of like all the Westwood games.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but he was just a lot of like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. There are like certain moments within the game that has that. So like it's just kind of
because it's also made just by a bunch of nerds.
Yeah,
and I like that because they're like idea badass, like this scientist who created a suit that gives him like superpowers.
Right. Yeah.
AKA he can run through a hazardous waste environment with no helmet.
Right.
Survive. And save the world, and then when it comes to the point of actually saving it, you just don't get the chance because they just don't work on the game.
Right. No, that's really interesting though, man. Like since you've been catching up on like a lot of the new games, like what do you think about Cuphead?
Oh, fuck. I haven't played it.
Oh yeah,
but I would also. That's a good thing you bring up because I like Cuphead in the sense of. Apparently that the studio had a lot of trouble just finishing that game.
It looks amazing.
And they had to like completely redesign it too at some point.
It looks amazing.
And it's like very much like, hey, artists of like the visual aspect and the audio aspect mixing with like the tech artists and all stuff, programmers and all stuff to create something. It's literally just this thing is bleeding in creativity. Like every fucking pore of it is just like, yo, we spent time on the music, we spent time on the sounds, we spent time recreating this fucking era of art. You know what I mean? This era of just American art too.
Yeah, it really is. Like
it's brilliant. Yeah, Cuphead. Yeah, and it's a difficult game, and I like difficult games. And I think difficult games have very much a place in this world.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to get into that, but I remember reading an article of people being like, I don't like Cuphead, or like some big website having an article of like not complaining, but criticizing this sort of, I guess, quote, fetishization of skill in games. And so don't play Cuphead then. There's a whole market now that literally caters towards, I guess, your mindset of video gaming. I think,
super hard games. Yeah, I get you.
I think it's important. I think keep your games hard. Just like, I'm sorry, there's fucking books that are fucking hard to read, and then what do I get at the end of it? Oh, I'm sorry, fucking Infinite just bored the shit out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. No, the Cuphead.
Oh, I don't need a, but Cuphead to me is just like, it's a hard thing. It's like, I didn't grow up going to arcades, but this is very much for the crowd of people like, I remember going to the arcade and playing Contra and trying to beat it. You know what I mean? Cuphead's Contra. I can say, I think a lot of people have already said that Cuphead is Contra.
It is, yeah.
In its cool visual aspect, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with like kind of a Metal Slug-ish, like.
Yeah.
Like, I love Metal Slug, so like.
I guess that was the last arcade game I think I've ever played.
Yeah.
It was either that and like maybe Tekken 3.
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah, Cuphead's cool. Cuphead's a really cool game.
Yeah.
I haven't played it though.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably won't because my priorities when it comes to like playing video games and buying them are not cool, neat things like that are just like, hey, get this thing that's very niche. I'm like, no, it needs to. I'm very weird when it comes to my my consumer habits when it comes to video games.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, here let's start this segment.
Oh right,
this is this is just I'll be asking you some questions and you just answer it. Like it's just like kind of like a bullet. Kind of question. Here we could just continue. Cats or dogs?
Cats. Should I explain it too?
If you want to.
Okay, I think it's very important to explain this. I think cats are cooler than dogs, or I prefer cats because at some point dogs accepted man as their god, and cats just were like, "Hey, we'll live among you, not under you."
I see.
And that's why they're very stubborn, and you can't really control them. And I like that.
I see.
Dogs are too loyal to a race of creatures, us, that are just wretched things.
That's really, that's really interesting, like the way you put it, like, because people would say, they prefer dogs because cats are boring.
Oh, no, they're not.
Yeah,
you're boring if your cat's boring. That's why your cat's not doing cool shit, because you're fucking boring.
Yeah, because those are
your
like...
cat does not care what fucking show you're watching. Do cool shit, and your cat will do cool shit.
Yeah. If you could visit any place in the world, where would you like to go?
I don't know. Fucking... Probably China.
Okay.
It's either China or like, I don't know, somewhere in the Middle East.
Okay.
Maybe like Iraq.
Iraq.
Yeah. I'm like really fascinated with just certain parts of the world. And like China and Iraq are among them. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good answer.
I feel like Iraq's important because like, I feel like I should go to the country that my country is currently bombing.
Right.
And just sort of, look at it and be like, oh, fuck. Just find some old pictures from maybe not too long ago. I'm like, that looks like it could have been a pretty place, you know what I mean? And then, oh, it's not there anymore.
I getcha. Next
it's also just an old historical place.
Right, yeah.
It used to be a good center of intelligence, of getting, like, well, I forget, it wasn't there like some library there? They had some nice place. It was just a good place that celebrated intelligence. And
yeah.
It's so you look at history and all that stuff. And, why are all these places that were not the West just like, oh yeah, there's so much cool shit, knowledge over there. Let's go over there and fucking burn that.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point. I don't even want to get into that because I think that's not going to get anything done. But yeah, I don't know.
I getcha.
People should go to places that aren't your country's bombing. I guess it's a very ignorant thing to not do, I feel, if you are living in a first world country, or even just a country that has the luxury of bombing another country and not being bombed in return.
Right, yeah.
You should go to that country, check it out, because I'm pretty sure you could do that and then you'll be fine.
Okay.
People won't be fine, but you will be fine.
Yeah. What's...
Sorry.
It's all good. Alright, next one. Console gaming versus PC gaming. Which one do you prefer?
God. Fucking I had to be asked that question. But yeah, PC gaming. Mainly just because it's I look at it as like you're working on a car, and it requires a certain like knowledge of. I feel like if you're a consumer who's primarily buying things for your computer, I feel like you're usually more knowledgeable about the tech that you're dealing with.
Right. Yeah.
Like the idea of if you're dealing with the computer, you're like, okay, if you're gonna build a computer, like I gotta know what kind of motherboard I'm gonna get. I need to know what sort of like the details of like the frequencies of the RAM I'm going to use. You know, you end up being forced to like learn certain just things that the normal person, the normal consumer, just doesn't know or care about.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why you end up just saving money if you're using a computer.
Right.
Versus like if you're the average consumer who's getting a console, you're usually of a certain age group. That's not just me saying that. That's just statistical fact. Like
yeah.
Or it's just you're a person who just like I don't want to have to think too hard. I just want to be able to play games. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I like the ability and the market of PC gaming more so than the console gaming because there's a lot more freedom.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of things that just happen on a computer. Like Minecraft started as like a little like, hey, we just made this weird little thing. You could pay $5 right now, and then next thing you know, millions of dollars. I don't know.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Favorite Godspeed You record?
Oh, how do you pronounce it? Yankee Oxo?
Yeah.
Yeah. that's a good one.
Yeah. Is that like one of your favorite band?
For a while they used to be my favorite band. Not so much these days. They're really good. I've just gotten really into other things since. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
Gotcha.
Motherfucker equals Redeemer Part 2 is an amazing song.
Yeah. Alright, here's the last one. This is just like a fill in a blank, but Known Bird Sightings is...
Known Bird Sightings is... I know some people are going to hate me if they do hear this. A mixed bag. That's as unoriginal as a journalistic answer.
That is a good answer though. I like it.
You approach it some way, you'll get something out of it in some way.
Right. Yeah. Well,
my recommendation though is if you're listening to it, either be high or fucking put on a movie, turn off the audio, and it's fun. I've not done any of these. I don't know. Just be comfortable. Do something else while you're doing it.
Yeah. So now for the end of the podcast, like I wanted to play one of your songs. Would you like to choose one?
Damn, could they cry?
Okay, we'll play that then. Well, thank you so much for participating.
No problem.
Yeah, to plan this out and.
Sorry if it was inconvenient to get here.
Oh no, dude. It's always a pleasure. Thanks a lot, dude.
No worries.
That was Ali of Known Bird Sightings. If you want to listen to more of his music, then check out the link I included in the description box below. More podcast episodes are coming, so don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. My name is Kazu, and I'll see you next time on one and only Large K Podcast. Peace.